When I first started playing Tower of Fantasy, I only played it because of the negative press. I seen a whole bunch of videos talking about how Tower of Fantasy is dead and Tower of Fantasy this and that. So I was like, you know what? When they ported over to PlayStation, I'm going to play it because I want to experience firsthand what they experienced. I want to see if what they said, all the negative shit that they posted about Tower of Fantasy, aka Tower of Trash, I want to see, is it real? Is all of the negative things true and factual? And I've determined that yes, every negative thing said about Tower of Fantasy is indeed factual, 100%. I experienced it. From power crept weapons to unnecessarily grindy gear leveling. It's terrible. The game is terrible. And recently, I just quit playing Tower of Trash, aka Tower of Fantasy. But my reasons for quitting is not the typical rage quit situation. Oh, I didn't get this character, so I quit playing the game. No, it's the fact that I feel like the devs just don't give a fuck about the player base. They don't respect your time playing the game. They don't give you the resources you need to get better weapons. They don't respect their player base. End of story. Like literally, that's what it is. They only want money. Now, Tower of Fantasy was ported over to PlayStation already dead. All of the players had already basically reneged against the game because they were like, well, you're not going to put cross progression into the game because the game's being published by a different company, so we don't give a fuck about Tower of Fantasy on PlayStation. So PlayStation doesn't have a huge player base of Tower of Fantasy players. You rarely see anybody running around in the game whatsoever, so it's already dead. Like, there's nothing I can really tell you besides the fact that I see players every once in a while, or did. Now that I quit playing the game, I really don't care anymore. What was the nail in the coffin was this anniversary event. The 1.5 year anniversary event. We got an SSR box for logging into the game for 3 days. I thought that it was going to be a SSR box filled with maybe newer weapons and red nuclei, 80 red nuclei. This is what I thought. When I opened that fucking box, it was 1.0 power crept weapons, all of the ones, not the 3 new ones that they just put in for standard banner, right? And 80 gold nuclei. You know how disrespectful that shit is? Why not give your player base exactly 120 red nuclei? Resource gathering in Tower of Fantasy was an atrocity. It's a system that just didn't work with the type of gacha game that Tower of Fantasy is. You put all that effort into trying to get red nuclei and dark crystals only to get bits and pieces. 2 red nuclei here, 3 red nuclei if you're lucky, maybe 5 if you're real lucky if you play the gachapon machine, which is also gacha as well. The mechanics on that are even more broken than the regular gacha system itself. It was just a fucking chore to be gathering shit. I mean, field energy, really? Those little energy balls? That is the worst design in a game that I like, bro. I'm at a loss for words. Why would you base your game off of that? Have your players running around open exploration and just torture them to death, giving us bits and pieces of materials here and there. And at the end of 7 months, we still don't have enough to pull for a new weapon. With that being said, my channel will no longer make Tower of Fantasy content. So there will be no more Tower of Fantasy videos on this channel, of which I didn't really do too much Tower of Fantasy videos in the first place, so it's not a big deal breaker. There's nothing big going on. It's just that I'm not playing the game anymore, so I don't have a right to talk about it. When I'm not playing a game, I will not talk about it because I have no clue on what's going on in the game. So yeah, like, that's pretty much it from here. In the future, I probably still won't touch Tower of Fantasy unless it gets completely rebooted. Not reboot servers, but like a whole new game like Tower of Trash 2. Then I might come back and try it out. And then if it's worse, then again, I'll end up quitting once more.